All right, everybody, welcome. Gonna see we got about 16 people in here so far. I know a lot of people are gonna probably catch up to this afterwards, but super excited for today. This is probably the most excited I've been for a big presentation like this in a while. Probably because I got to create a lot of graphics and whatnot. We've also got an all-star lineup here tonight. So I'll start up in the upper left-hand corner. Josh Keck is here. The brand compliance and license competitive equipment manager. We've got to my right is Michael Gonzalez, National Director of Support. Kat Halpert is in the bottom left there, Director of Events. We've got Alicia Mullen, the Chief Business Officer for the American Cornhole League, and then Athena Delgado, the National Director of Engagement. We've got Trey Ryder is heading home from a quick little mini vacation, so he'll be joining us shortly too. Everybody knows Trey, our Chief Strategy Officer. So I'm going to flip over here to our presentation. As we typically do in these director sessions, we like to start out with a quote. This one I heard a few months ago, and I wrote it down, and I come back to it every now and then because we often get a hard time made fun of for changing every year, just trying to get it right, trying to get it, we're always adapting, innovating, but as this says, all change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and then gorgeous at the end. And I'm really confident we're getting close to that gorgeous part. So, all right, our agenda today, instead of doing a traditional agenda, I thought I'd just throw a bunch of words up there. These are the hot topics that we're going to try to hit on today, a general overview of everything. Once we get closer to Worlds and during Worlds and kind of after Worlds is when we generally release our guides, our director guides, player guides, pro guides, things like that. So this will be a general overview. We've still got some finishing up on the finer points of the details coming up, but really gonna touch on a lot of these today. So, okay. Ooh, you know what? Let me switch. Oh, there we go. Okay. Been playing around with this software all day. So, all right. Well, we had a lot of firsts this year. We've had our first year of state events as our highest non-open event. We've had our engagement programs that we launched this year, our club engagement page as well as on top of some other initiatives that we've promoted this year. We've got some hurdles that we've run into this year. We've been able to talk to a lot of directors and players and pros throughout the year, and kind of caught on to the general themes that we've been able to hear. The feedback, the pain points that we've gotten that feedback on. So really, I hope today we're able to address a lot of those pain points so that we can really come up with a plan to do what's best for the players, the directors, and the ACL. Do something that makes sense to just about everybody, so that we can keep prospering and going forward into the growing this sport that we love so much. This next slide, this one might be my favorite because it is so random, but to address a lot of the hurdles that we've heard about this year, we've had quite a few just interactions with all sorts of people, whether it's players, directors, pros. We've been working, I'd say probably the last 6 months on really brainstorming ideas and talking to people and trying to come up with ways that, we can take the feedback that we hear, correct some of the oopses that we made this year, things that we probably would like to take back. And this kind of represents, as you go through this town hall and you listen to the different speakers talk in their areas, think about how you as a director can really, paint the picture, of what success is going to look like in your area, whether that's the club, whether that's your region, your state, wherever, whether you help out at national events and whatnot. We've talked again to all sorts of our constituents, and they've been able to give us valuable feedback, and so what we're trying to do now is lay out different items that can help all the directors be successful, the players have fun and engaged, and then taking your ideas and whatnot and turning this, kind of painting that picture for how you might be successful in your area. Now, this is a big one. Probably the biggest hurdle that we're facing right now is that that narrative that it's all about chasing points, and an ACL is only good for people that want to chase points. Okay, we know that that's not true. We've got our open we've had our open standings in the past. We've had people who've chased points for whatever reason that they wanted to become pro or tops in their states or previously in their conferences. But there's so much more to that, and really this narrative is so important, not just at the national level, but down to at all levels of the sport. People obviously play cornhole. There's a very small percentage that play because they want to go pro, because they like to be highly competitive. But there's so many more players that like to that play. You always hear about cornhole is family, being able to be able to be part of a community, so where you can build friendships and whatnot at all levels, So while yes, we've got ACL points that a lot of people chase, that's not necessarily the only reason to play an ACL event. Okay, the ACL events are really there as part of this international, this global movement that you're part of when you play in an ACL event. So you see the different bubbles here in terms of following your passion to become a pro, feeling valued, rewarded for every time you play with our engagement programs, a sense of belonging in a cornhole community family, regardless of your skill level. And then really, a lot of players like to play just for competitive purposes. They're at an age where they don't want to run up and down a basketball court or soccer pitch or run around bases on a softball or baseball field. This is a perfect way to be part of a bigger community. And then we've obviously, I know I've brought this up before, but ACL for I guess one of the other hurdles we face is that ACL is a cash grab, and the surprising thing is ACL invests in the sport all across the board, and we've got our software, our broadcast, international development, high school, college development, our equipment, also our engagement programs, our director sessions, all of that stuff we're investing back into the sport, plus the amount of commissions that directors earn on memberships that they sell. I don't know that there's another group out there that is able to contribute back to directors so that they can continue to grow their areas. So really want to kind of take those last two slides with changing those narratives, and bring that hammer, kind of hit that point home. So, I told you all about what the AACL can do to support directors and contribute to the sports. A lot of it also comes down to directors too. And that's why you as directors have so much strength and voice and power in your clubs and your areas to grow your sport. It doesn't have to just be about a competitive cornhole tournament. There can be so much more to it. I've got some pictures here from some past events that I've been at or that I've been part of, and you can just kind of see the excitement and the fun that is out there. Whether as a director you create this experience for players as opposed to just showing up, playing in a tournament, and going home. Directors, you have so much power in terms of creating an inviting, engaging atmosphere for your players, so that they can enjoy playing, and tying the ACL part onto that is just an added bonus as well. All right. Well, Trey is not on here. I'm going to throw this over to Athena and have you talk a little bit about Grassroots. And I apologize for putting you on the spot there. Trey is stuck in traffic, so.
Perfect. All right, no worries at all. Hello, everyone. So Grassroots, that's kind of, something that I think everyone has been listening to us talk about a lot this season, and kind of what our goal is. One of the things that, at least the best explanation I can give is here in Arizona, we have different grass types. Now, that would surprise you considering we are about 110 degrees right now, but we do have grass here in Arizona. But with that being said, though, there's two different types. You have your ryegrass, you have your Bermuda grass. So there's two different, values. Now, one type of grass grows as a singular root. It's its own singular ecosystem. And that's pretty much all it does. It dies off, and then you have to reseed for it to come back. Another type of grass that we have is kind of ever-changing. It creates its own ecosystem. So off of one root grows an additional strand that grows onto the next one, that grows onto the next one. And it's that very, very long, crazy strand of grass that's continual. And so essentially what our goal is to be able to create some type of an ecosystem that allows, growth. It allows, not just directors to grow, but players to grow and really create those roots in that ecosystem, which is actually a great picture right here because it does show you the roots. It shows you the ecosystem. Everyone is entwined within each other. So one seed, doesn't just create one blade of grass, I guess, for us, but it creates an entire root funneling system for everyone to kind of be a part of, which is our goal. Oh, you're muted.
Thanks for jumping in there. Man, I had such a good comment there, and I was on mute. Too bad I can't remember it now. But yeah, and to kind of piggyback on what Athena said, we really feel that cornhole is still the tip of the iceberg on where it can be. We've grown quite a bit over the last 7, 8, 9 years since the ACL has been in existence. But still, it's really just the tip of the iceberg, and we see that there's just hundreds of thousands of more players out there that we can attract into this sport, so that they're playing ACL events. So I'm going to turn it over now to Kat. Kat's going to talk a little bit about opens for next season and our pro field. So, how you doing, Kat?
Oh, just so lovely. I already got text messages telling me to smile. I'm like, this is so awkward when I'm not actually talking. Like, I don't know what to do with my face. What are we doing, Todd?
I'm
What stuff am I
sorry.
supposed to talk about?
Oh
No,
my
it's fine.
gosh.
This is perfect. This is like perfect for me. Just break it all up.
There you go.
Hi guys. Most of you know me from seeing me around, but I am the director of events, and things coming for me next season are a little bit of adjustment. So I'd love to talk about pro stuff first. We've heard you across the board, right? We've heard you as a pro player. We've heard you as an elite player. We've heard you as an amateur player. And we were really trying to dive into listening to what concerns you have or what questions you have or the things around that side of it. And we're really taking a hard look. And I want everyone to understand that, right? The goal, everyone's dream for years has been, I want to be an ACL pro. And then you hear that we're going to 100 and everyone's like, well, how do I do that? What? How's that ever going to happen? Right? Because we have these top elite players. But we are doing a lot to make sure that that's something that is still achievable for everyone across the board. At every range, right? We all know that we have our Tony Smiths and our Mark Richards that want to do it for a living. And then we all know that we have our family man at home that still wants to work a full-time job, but still wants to have that chance to be a pro. So we're working really hard and devising a program that is achievable and accessible for everyone without breaking the bank. So that's the big piece. Did I miss anything, team, on pro stuff?
No, that's great. Yeah, that's the big thing is I like how you said that with the family man at home or woman at home that wants to, be a pro without having to necessarily travel the country. And, And I think we've got some solid ideas in place that we can do, almost immediately coming into this next season, where we can still value those top 100 players that earned it, plus have some additional distribution across the country, so that states are represented kind of throughout the country.
Sure. That's our big goal. Ooh, now we get to talk about the fun stuff. Opens, schedule, all the things that everyone hates me for and loves me for all in the same time. Alicia's going to get like this big smile across her face in a second, so just watch. But we are farther ahead than we have ever been when it comes to schedule. We actually had another meeting today. We're very close to locking in these locations and all these things. We're super excited for that. We are going to do pretty much similar to what we've done this past year, where there's going to be some events where pros and amateurs play separate, but we're bringing back one of the things that everyone missed, which was pros and amateurs playing together. So I'm super excited to see those pieces come back together and offer different options across the board. Do you want to play with your pros? You want to see where you stand? You want to play with your amateurs and still have those skill divisions? I'm really excited to, fingers crossed, we announce our full schedule at Worlds. If Alicia has anything to say about it, I'll be broke if I don't. But we're very excited to be ahead of the game and evenly distribute events across the country, and really make sure that we hit those prime targets and not oversaturate the market.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, the opens, those are the fun events throughout the year. So, Kat, can I ask a quick question? Are you envisioning
Sure.
all of the opens to be pros and amateurs intermixed, or do you see some sort of potential variety?
So I think we're going to have two different options, right? There's going to be the one thing that everyone missed, which was being able to play with the pros and having that opportunity. I mean, everyone loves a good giveaway from a pro to play with them as a partner for the Open, right? And then you're going to have your events where you're going to have your pro only side with your amateur side. So you can go and watch pros play and be a little separated. So you're going to have both options available to you so that you have that variety to be able to do, and across the country too. So you shouldn't have to travel but so far and so many times to be able to do both.
Cool. Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. Let me bring in Alicia now, our Chief Business Officer, who has been knee deep, elbow deep, shoulder deep in technology for the last 9, 12, 18 months.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Todd. I probably don't know most of you. My name is Alicia. I have been here for almost, I guess, a year and a half. And pretty much since that first day, I have been diving into the app, hearing about the app, getting questions and comments about the app. And I'm so excited to just actually show some screens for our new app and to let you guys know officially that we hear you and we know this app, player side, director side, fan side, is not where we need it, or the software at large is not where we need it to be. And we, I think, in the past 8 months have been putting a significant investment, both money, time, more time, into making a best-in-class cornhole app and desktop extension for those bigger tournaments, for you guys to use. We're so excited. Todd will show a couple of screens here, but it will. The bottom line is that it will be easy to use, and I think that it will be easy to use and it will work. And I think that that's really table stakes for a piece of software, but we're so excited about it, and it's going to be creating clubs, creating events, collecting registrations, executing on payouts. Everything's going to be more streamlined, more intuitive. And this will be coming out in Q4. So around December is when we're hoping to get this done. So what we're doing right now, as you can see right now, the screens that you're seeing are sort of player focused screens. So that's the first section of the app that's being done right now. And what we're doing is every single week we have a focus group that meets. It's Michael, Athena, Todd, Trey, Kat, a number of other people, Davis, Streaker, and then there's people like me and a few others on the marketing team who maybe are less familiar with all the rules of cornhole. We want this app to be just a one-stop shop for everyone, from the person that comes up to you and says, I don't know the first thing about cornhole, but I want to play, to, you know, one of you running a major event with hundreds or thousands of people. So it's going to be, you know, that's a large project. So that's why it takes a while. But I want you to rest assured that we're getting feedback from everyone across the organization. And also, as we get prototypes, I would love to hear more from you all, as you can kind of use it and test it and get back to us, and sort of give us feedback on what you like, and what we can improve on. But this is a huge, huge step, and I think we're all like just crazy excited about it. Anything else, Todd, that I should touch on? Aren't the screens so pretty already? Aren't you excited?
Yeah, I had the question for you in terms of getting it in the hands of some test groups before, but you answered that perfectly. Yeah. So, yeah, with something so large that is taking up a lot of resources to get developed, we want to make sure we get it right, and when this thing launches, it's ready to go. So, you know, maybe a little clunky starting the season and then transitioning, but the more feedback and the more willing and able participants that we can get the hands on this and see it from all levels. You know, we usually find the best feedback comes from, you know, some, you know, a group that is using it in a very particular way, and then that we hadn't even thought about, and so that it really helps getting that feedback. So, all right, thanks, Alicia, appreciate it. All right, I think let's go back over to Athena here. And I forgot to shift my slides around for Kat. Kat had a scheduling conflict, so I had to get her in early, and I totally forgot to shift the slides around. So you are on mute, Athena, if you're talking.
Yep, sounds right. Perfect. All right, awesome. So this picture right here is the Amateur Open Challenge. So kind of going, I guess, into that route. One thing that we also want to make sure that we do take a quick moment to focus on is, I guess, the core of what makes the league so special. So from the players, directors, the club leaders, just kind of everyone overarching who makes everything possible. This season, we really double down on one specific mission in investing in the people, so the players, directors, empowering the grassroots growth, and elevating the game just about everywhere. So with that, we are reintroducing the open standings to this coming season, which is a move made pretty much by listening to all of you, the directors, players, who were pretty much loud and clear on, you know, the need for open standings to come back, because that created a purpose, motivation, momentum. So with the return, we've decided to launch the Amateur Open Challenge. So it is a new sort of performance-based path for players to earn, you know, a little bit of that national recognition just based on their results within the open standings. So there's no, you know, special invitation, no shortcuts. You just go over to the open standings and all of your results are essentially just there. So you can earn, you know, some types of prizing, which we'll be announcing probably in the next couple of weeks or closer towards Worlds, exactly what that's going to look like. But it's sort of a comparison to essentially, you know, with conferences going away and kind of making this an overarching, bigger, you know, sort of excitement. So we're excited to get that out to all of you. And, you know, it really holds true to our mission for that grassroots level.
Cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is, I lost my train of thought. I saw Trey popping in and out there. So, but yeah, you know, this is something that I think is a blend of everybody seemed to love the conference jerseys, and this here is a great program for those top players that really love chasing the points. We've got other things for people that are not interested in chasing the points, but just love to play. But this is really for those top players that they have something to chase for. And, you know, we've started the process of trying to come up with our list of what we want to offer. And it's a pretty exciting list that we're going to excited to release once everything's finalized. So thanks, Athena.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you. All right. So join, participate, and engage. So this season we had the player engagement program, which was a brand new addition. It ended up exceeding, I think, all of our expectations when it came to building loyalty, lots of excitement, accountability, all of that. So it kind of provided the directors an additional, level of opportunity to say, hey, just for coming, playing, participating, now you earn points, not just for receiving a podium, but just for showing up and doing what players really, really enjoy and love. A quick, sort of breakdown for this particular season is as of today, we have 154 players who have an opportunity to compete for a $5,000 prize pool at Worlds. 20 have received or will be receiving a PEP jersey. One will receive a pro board set, and one will also join leadership at a VIP dinner at Worlds. So the program itself is it's going to continue into the upcoming season. We have some new milestones, rewards. We're kind of getting a couple things finalized for that, but it's essentially to help all of our directors help keeping players inspired and just keeping everyone active across the board. That also goes in turn with the director engagement program. So that one is very similar to the PEP, except this one, sort of is a good system that supports all of the people, players, pretty much everyone on this call, for running events, growing their clubs, and just mentoring that next wave of talent, because that's also a big part of what directors do as well. So for this particular season, we have already awarded or earned from directors 113 ACL flags, 42 director jerseys, 19 Zuka backpacks. 4 directors will have their ACL memberships covered for the upcoming season, and 1 has earned a VIP dinner with leadership at Worlds. So same thing, we're going to continue with this program for the upcoming season. We have updated tools, lots of growth incentives, and a much stronger support system now that we have kind of our baseline from this season. We know what worked, what didn't work, and what we can do better. So pretty much all the data between the PEP and DEP is it's really, really impressive, but it's also inspiring. It really tells a good story about just how the ACL as a whole isn't just growing faster, but it's also growing deeper, like the roots. And showcasing all of our players who are really committed, directors who are leading, communities that are showing up again and again just because they do feel seen, they feel valued, supported. Just remembering that we're not just running events, we're also trying to run some type of a movement. So it's rooted within people, powered by performance, and built for long-term growth. So just continue to do everything that you guys are doing. We're excited to bring these programs between PEP, DEP, and open standings, and we can't wait for you guys to see what's coming up for the next season.
Todd, you're on mute again.
Oh, muted again.
But those are some beautiful app screens, I will say. That's a perfect screensaver for
us. So good.
No. Okay. Well, yeah, in bringing what Athena was talking about back here, man, I say the best stuff when I'm on mute. But in the new player app and on the director side too, we'll have it in there, but there will be more visibility on these engagement programs as well, so that not just in the app but on the website, to where you can go and you can see where you're at, compared to other people in the country, and get more details and things like that, not just on the engagement programs but on the incentive plan as well. So cool. Thanks, Athena. I'm going to bring Trey back in here now, because I know he's got a little bit of a time commitment here. He's been on the road for a while, all day traveling back, so he's probably exhausted here. But Trey, how you doing?
Yeah, just a mess here. Good. I made sure to make it in time, and hopefully this is coming through somewhat clear. So, yeah, excited to be here. Thanks, Todd.
Todd, you're on mute again. This is my new favorite game.
Yeah. I'm a mess today. I'm
Well-
coming off vacation last week. So, but Trey, do you want to talk a little bit about our grassroots and other strategies we got going into next season?
Yeah, and hopefully it comes in halfway clear. But that sums up my day if not. So yeah, just stop me if this isn't making any sense at all. Or you can't hear any of it. But I think for us, the big thing is we really have to take a big look at where we've been, where we're trying to go, and the different stages of growth that we've had along the way. And I think a lot of people can stand back and really appreciate what we've done thus far, but also can appreciate how we need to change or modify what our strategies are. I think when we first built the league and when Stacy was just going into the Harris Cherokee Casino with 3 people putting on a championship event, it was really just about just that. Find a way to put on a couple cornhole tournaments a year that people were excited to go to. And then the next stage of our growth really was, okay, can we build some type of platform in our tech in order to start doing things and start building and having more directors across the country running events? Then that became a big part of what we did. And then from there, it was, okay, can we create a pro division that really accentuated the best that the sport had to offer? And that was really what we've been focusing on for the past few years. So each different stage of our growth has really had a different element that has made us special and really made the ACL special and the people that work for it. But now it's identifying what that next stage of growth is. And Grassroots, great photo here that Todd brought in, is really what our next stage has to be. And that's because we feel like, especially with this technology, with a great pro division, with the relationships we have with sponsors, with the relationships that we have with our TV networks and the great staff that we have on hand, we've really started to lay a great foundation. And so, yes, are there ways that we could have attacked this a little bit differently in the past few years? Yes, but at the same time, we got to where we are here because we focused on different elements to make us a really strong company. And now it's our job really to identify what that next stage is for us. So the most important thing here is identifying that the grassroots effort and focus for us over the next 5 years is just of that. It's getting the amateur player excited about being a part of the American Cornhole League. And so for us, we put together a 5-year strategic plan of how we were going to really revitalize that. Tech was obviously a big forefront of what we were doing, but it's everything that everybody on this call has really been talking about. It's the different initiatives that we've had to build it and make it something that's really, really special. And so when we put that 5-year plan together, there was every different element to it. Yes, it was memberships. We talked about financials, planning, how do we drive revenue, how do we limit costs, things of that nature like a business would do. But it's also about ways that we can give back to the community, because the community is really a core element of what we want to do. And so really building a strong membership pool has to start with focusing on the amateur player at all levels. And so really what I can say is, and these guys are all the smart people doing all the hard work, I'm just the big picture guy really talking about all the different ways we want to bring it to life. But I can confidently say with 100% certainty that you've never in the history of this league have had as many people at the top of the organization all the way to the bottom in that order, all bought into one common goal. For so many years, it was everybody had their different goal and everybody was looking out for what is best for them. But Stacy has challenged this entire company to say every decision that we make, whether it's what we put on TV, whether it's what we do to our tech development, what we spend in marketing, what we do at the HQ, how many bags we're going to sell, all has to be geared towards one common goal, and that is getting the amateur player excited about being a member of the American Cornhole League. And that has to be the message that we are communicating from us all the way through all of you as directors and to those players. And that is what we want to work together as a team. We've never been as more of a collaborative and an inspired team as we have right now. And I say all that to hopefully get a lot of people excited and energized, but I also use it as a challenge because this is not going to be easy. But the good news is the path that we want to take, we have the right people that are in place to do that. And that starts with the people on this call and it starts with the people watching this call. So really, I didn't want to dive in too much into the strategic plan. I more wanted to come in here and give a little rah-rah speech about how we're really inspired as a group, and we all have to be leaders of this league and of this sport. And if we do that, now that we all have this common goal, there is no doubt in my mind that this group can lead this sport into really a multi-billion-dollar industry. So that's what I have to say. And by the reactions from people, it came through there. So I didn't drop out halfway through, but I appreciate everybody's patience with me and getting through this thing. But yeah, that's my spiel.
That's great. Yeah, that's great, Trey. Thank you for giving all that. I know everybody on this end is jacked up too. So and before you were able to jump on, we talked about narratives too, and kind of the narratives that are out there. And am I on mute? No, I'm just kidding. And the narratives and how we as the ACL, we as directors, we can change that narrative to where ACL is, I think we all know it, but to the public, talk about how the ACL can be for everybody. There's a place for everybody, and I got a slide coming up that we'll go into a little bit more into that. But anything else? Ooh, here we go, Russell, our state director out of Colorado.
Yes. So I think it also warrants mentioning for everyone on the call that Trey is not himself driving. I just wanted to be clear that we are a safety first company. So I just don't want people to think he's setting a bad example with that.
Cool.
My wife is being a true hero, a team player right now. So shout out Shelby Ryder.
Cool. Thanks, Trey. Appreciate your time. All right, let me bring in Michael now to talk about the next couple slides here with our CPI push and our club pages.
Yep, thanks, Todd. But first, I got to comment on a couple of those slides. Well, number one, if anyone makes me want to run through a wall, I guess it's Trey Ryder, because I'm ready to hit the ground running after that. But also, I learned Arizona has 2 types of grasses, so I invite Athena and Todd from Arizona to come to Oregon, where we probably have 20 something types of grasses, and we sell grass seed around the whole world. So I guess there's something to learn in grass there. And then the third thing, this VIP dinner, I hope I get invited to that, because I assume there's going to be steak. Whoever that is, directors, players, me.
Yeah, I don't know if we've got the menu yet, but that's probably something we should get figured out here soon.
All right, cool. CPI, I have talked about CPI a lot, starting way back at just before Worlds last season. We really started talking about CPI. I talked a lot about what CPI is and how CPI is, but I think one thing I've missed, or one thing I look forward to going forward, is why CPI. And I think that's a much more important thing is the how, or the what CPI is the why. And I just got a couple topics on CPI different from what I've said in the past. And, we've listened, as a theme of this call, we've listened to directors, we've listened to players. And one big frustration point for all of us has been skill levels. They're so tough to gauge. We tried putting out a national averages for PPRs, right? If you're intermediate, you're in this average. Well, those don't translate very well across the country. So when I say why CPI, it's really because we've listened, and we've created a really powerful tool in using CPI going into next season with our new technology that we've just learned about, and how we can use CPI to take over skill levels. This will not necessarily allow as much sandbagging. This isn't going to allow as much national uncharacteristic numbers. CPI has proven to be a powerful tool so far, and what we want to do with that is give directors flexibility. So when we talk about new technologies, we talk about CPI, we want to give directors flexibility to change their areas. What is a tier 1 in the Northwest may not be a tier 1 CPI in the Southwest. And so giving directors the ability to have flexible numbers and play with those numbers, allowing players to view that as a dynamic number that they can engage with, and that they can help Chase want to make their CPI better than the person next to them. So I've talked a lot about CPI in the past, but really going forward, it's going to be about our technology and why CPI is so powerful. And I'm excited to take those next steps.
Great, thanks. Yeah, and one thing that I just kind of want to emphasize too, that Michael said, is that flexibility for directors for those reasons that he talked about. I think that's going to just be a really big game changer for clubs and regions, especially. We would certainly provide guidance in terms of what a tier, a level 1 might look like versus a level 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. But yeah, it gives that director in New South Wales, Australia flexibility. That gives the one in Slovenia, gives a director in Canada, US. It's something really that can is scalable for all areas, whether they're new or experienced cornhole areas. So.
All right, the next one, club pages. The problem with club pages historically this whole season has been we jumped into what we called version 1 of club pages and we got stuck there and we didn't move forward. And now that we have new technology coming on board, we have a dynamic, flexible number in CPI. Like, we're going to be able to tie all of these products into our club pages. So as we've talked about the new app and the new technologies, club pages have been at the forefront of that. So it's very important to us that, when we talk about Grassroots, we're talking about clubs at the local level. And we want to give, again, that keyword flexibility to directors within club pages. Flexibility in areas of creating standings based on certain metrics, whether that metric is a date range or whether that metric is a specific group of events. And allow directors to have flexibility for their players when it comes to club pages. Make it powerful to join a club. What does it mean to become part of this director's club? What does it mean to become a part of that director's club? We want that to feel powerful. We want that to be exciting. We have tons of ideas and tons of frameworks already built, and we're just kind of on the edge of our seats waiting for that flexibility to come with the new technology. So super excited for that. Club pages will definitely be the future of the Grassroots movement.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah. And something Trey brought up when it's just started and there was 3 people throwing ideas against the wall. Now there's 20 people throwing ideas against the wall, and and trying to catch up with our ideas is always a fun thing. So all right. Thanks, Michael. Let's bring in Josh now, who's going to talk a little bit about our licensing updates and all the different ways that directors can generate some additional revenue for themselves, for their clubs.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm just going to say I'm not as interesting as previous presenters here, especially Trey and Michael. Michael's very interesting. But I did not forget to unmute myself, and I kept telling myself, don't do it. Just okay. So I'm good. I completed that mission. But I'm here to tell you about licensing and the different kind of revenue generating opportunities the directors can have with the ACL. Not only can you work with our board licensees and bag licensees, we just onboarded Caddyshack Cornhole Customs with their jerseys and T-shirts, and they can work with you and collab with all the directors and clubs out there to get your logos on jerseys, and you can sell them and generate a little bit of extra revenue there. We did onboard a couple new companies that have. Here, I have it here. Drinkware, magnets, wall decals, floor decals, stickers, face tattoos, bag tags, and more. And we will be onboarding some more licensees in the very near future with more opportunities for you to create revenue and just have extra things, at your events. How great would it be to have tumblers maybe as like your trophies, to give away or even sell to the players out there with your logo on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if anybody was at the Mesa Open, they saw Athena running around frantically sticking Arizona Burn stickers on all the Arizona people's face so that they would be representing in the crowd. And I imagine that was one of our new partners.
I can actually see that happening for some reason.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I like that idea too about those as, as prizes or trophies or something like that, especially at those lower divisions where, we want to try to encourage directors to do more prizes and, and not focus so much on the cash payouts. So perfect.
If the directors, if you want more information on how to work with all of our licensees, if you don't have a DLH account yet, that's Direct Licensing Hub. Go ahead and log in, create an account. It's just directlicensinghub.com. I've posted that in the director group multiple times in the past, but we can get you set up with an account. It's free. You don't have to pay any royalties or anything whatsoever to us. Free account will get you all the info, all the contact info, and how to work with all of our licensees.
Yeah, and a lot of this information too is we've got in our Director Resource Center in the Kajabi platform. I know it's not been a very smooth rollout of that. We are looking to transition all those resources over to our website behind a login. Hopefully over the next several months we can get that done, and then you'll have easier access. You won't have to worry about having multiple logins and whatnot, and easier access to this sort of information. And we can do a more consistent job of pushing this out there so that you can stay informed with existing things as well as new things that are coming up. So cool. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, let's bring Alicia back in here to tie everything together.
All right, I'm back. All right, so another function that I oversee at the ACL is marketing. And I think when most people think of marketing, we think of, like billboards in Times Square and Super Bowl commercials and things of that nature. But for me, marketing has always been very much a support department, and we're going to really key in on that. To everyone's point, particularly Trey talking about how we're all working together. It's my vision as the marketing leader to make sure that everyone's being supported with assets, collateral, awareness, and things of that nature through our marketing channels. So basically, this little Venn diagram kind of shows how all of these things will come together on the marketing side. And then that little yellow area that overlaps, that's where we get growth, right? Because in the grassroots level, what we're going to do on a marketing side is put out, we are the larger engine. So we are going to be able to support you guys at the local level by putting out more marketing and more awareness collateral at the local levels where you are, so you can engage more people. Then on the support side, obviously, it's making sure that you guys, when you're running an event, that you have branded items that you can use, you have templates and things of that nature, signage that you can use to make sure everything is within that ACL style and looks really professional without you having to shell out your own money for that. And then obviously on the technology side, one of the best marketing tools in the world is the app stores on phones. So, being able to have our technology right there in the app store, searchable, the first thing that comes up when you type in cornhole, that is going to be in and of itself a marketing tool to get people in the app, and then they'll see your events because it's geolocated. And then again, all of this is going to come together to promote growth of the league at all levels. So really looking forward to diving into more of that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, and I know, marketing is when there's so many different avenues, that's got to be quite the challenge.
Yep.
So thanks, Alicia. Appreciate your time. All right, want to go back real quick. One thing that wanted to bring up on the opens is next year we're going to be sourcing more of the opens to some of the high level directors who've proven to be able to run large events in the past. So while we'll still have a national staff running a certain amount of events, we'll also be sourcing some others. That'll also include our streaming setup, our boards, mats, score towers, and things like that. So it'll look identical to opens you're used to, just run by different folks. So That was just something I failed to mention earlier on. So, okay. So hopefully, throughout this presentation, I created this graphic a couple weeks ago and shared it with one of the focus groups and also with state directors. But hopefully with all of these different initiatives and plans and pivots and whatnot, there's really a clear vision for how there's a pathway for everybody. If you want to be a pro, if you want to be a really high level competitive amateur player, if you just want to go and play because it's your Wednesday night out, to socialize, we've got something for every player. Okay, whether it is that pro pathway or the open challenge, amateur open challenge, the engagement points, things like that. Going into next season, now that we're done with our first year, we're almost through our first year with state directors for the first time. We've seen some of the gaps in how we can support state directors a little bit better so that they can build out incentive programs for their state, which they can then in turn work with local and regional directors to build out incentive plans for those groups as well. So, and then obviously the club directors rewards, increasing memberships, giving back more to the directors. Over the last couple of years, I think the figure is somewhere in the $350,000 range for the amount of commissions that directors have earned through memberships. So the directors are have the ability to generate some income, and a lot of them are using them for venue fees or to put back into their clubs for different exciting initiatives. So we've really been able to identify some directors that are doing great things throughout the country, not just in the U.S., but Canada and Europe as well. And we can sort of take these ideas now and start to develop a playlist or a bucket of resources so that you can take those ideas and use them in your own clubs and whatnot. So, anybody have anything to add on to that one? Just about done here. I can't believe we're going to keep this under an hour. This is great. Just wanted a little bit of information here. I want to give, we're going to do educational sessions again at Worlds. Here's kind of a list of ideas that we are thinking about presenting. You may see the software demo on there. If we've got that ready to go, that I can imagine will be a standing room only one. But if you have any other ideas, feel free to drop them in the comments, send Athena, Michael, or myself an email with something you might like. We are going to try to not only have them live, but if you cannot make Worlds, have them streamed similar to our other director sessions this year. This was our most successful year for director sessions. We had, I think, by the end of the season, we'll have had 37 different educational sessions for directors, which is pretty amazing. And we keep growing that pool of sessions and resources and whatnot to help support directors the best we can. So. All right. And then, of course, it's on our YouTube channel. If you're not familiar with that, just search at ACL events and you'll be able to go. So, and then let's finish on this. I take my dog, or not anymore because it's so hot and I don't want to get out that early, but my wife does now. I take my dog on a couple mile little loop every day. And I've got two pictures here. One is from December where the trees are all dead, and one's from just a couple weeks ago when the trees are in bloom and everything is thriving. So my final takeaway I'd like you to leave this session with is that everything goes through seasons. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're a dead tree or tree with no leaves. Sometimes you're full and robust of leaves. We are, we've obviously, we talked about the hurdles earlier on in the session. I'm really confident, and I know the team that was on here today, Trey, a bunch of other people within the ACL, we're really invested in all of these conversations that we've had to put the best product forward for players, directors, and for the ACL. So I'm super confident that we are going out of this top picture of a season, and we're getting into that really robust season where ACL is thriving, growing. Our members are increasing across the globe, and everybody is happy. So I'll leave you all with that. Okay. Well, Michael, Josh, Athena, Alicia, thanks so much for joining. Feel free to drop off. I've got one more slide for questions. I'm going to scroll back through and we'll try to answer some of the questions here. But appreciate everybody's time. If you want to stay on and listen to some of the answers to the questions, great. If not, if you jumped in halfway through this, you can always rewind. This video is live and available. All right. There weren't too many.
If that's the first question, then the answer is no.
Oh, can we get? Oh, I must have clicked on that one on accident. All right.
I did it.
All right. Fog City Corey, thanks. Yeah, we will reach out when we're looking for testers. I appreciate that. Who Corey? What's your last name, Corey? I'm not familiar with Fog City, Corey. Corey, you are up in Canada? All right. Will the app be released when it's complete, not in sections, players, director, etc.? Alicia, do you wanna hit this one?
Sure. Yeah. We felt it was important, yes, for it to be released as a complete package. So yes, and that's why it won't be ready until December.
Cool. All right. Okay, looks like a lot of support for I am the ACL. Okay. All right, Jeremy asks, will CPI be heavily reliant on directors or someone within the ACL to move people around? Michael, do you wanna tackle this one?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, what's going to be great about CPI and having skill levels with CPI number ranges is we'll do something similar to this year or years past where we create like a national, breakdown of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, etc. But what CPI and what we want to allow with the new technologies that, directors like you, Jeremy, in your regional area, you would kind of set the tone of what is tier 1 in your area and give you flexibility. So, CPI is planning to update once a week. That's probably going to be on Mondays after, the weekend events are over. And then, it's going to allow directors at the local level, if you're going to run like a Tuesday night swap, and you want to split, CPI brackets, you're going to get to choose like what is a tier 1 CPI in your area versus what's a tier 1 CPI in my area. So yeah, flexibility is key there, and just giving directors opportunities to keep their players engaged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, and it's going to be clunky. I anticipate initially while we catch people up in terms of getting a CPI, meeting those minimum requirements. But once once you've got more and more people meeting those requirements, it's going to be so much easier for you to not even have to worry about that. So there's a couple different options you could do. You might be able to just open up a registration. Everybody pays $20. You've got everybody come into the registration, and then when you get there, you see how many people you've got. You say, okay, I've got 40 people. I want 3 divisions. And I can say, okay, anybody with a 7.2 to an 8.1, you're going to be in level 1. 6.4 to 7, whatever the bottom number is that I said before, that's level 2. And obviously give people the ability to play up if they want to, but then, it could change from week to week too. It could be maybe this week you've got a really high number of high CPI people. Next time you've got, more of the lower skilled people, and you can really be flexible with how you want to do that. So, and again, we'll give some guidance and some ranges so that it's not just a free for all, but for the most part, it should provide directors with a lot of flexibility to where skill levels, Jeremy, aren't even needed anymore. We're going based. We're taking away that subjectivity, and we're looking at an actual metric. So I always give a mouthful to an answer when probably a few words would be sufficient. So cool. All right. Well, that looks like that's the last question, unless anybody has anything else. Oh, we're 1 minute over, but we can blame that on me. My long-winded answers. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time. Good luck.